Hey, yo, 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 what up, what up? I'm back at it again, y'all. I basically moved up one of my live streams because I had another scheduled live stream that I was going to do, but that had to be canceled for unforeseen reasons. So, I figured the least I could do is just still go live for y'all because I know that some of y'all like to see me go live nowadays. And much love to y'all. I appreciate that. So, just back again. I don't know who's all going to be here tonight, but yeah, it's one of those things where I'm just here. So, oh, looks like I got a few people already coming into the building. That's what's up, man. Uh, well, yeah, I hope everybody's doing good out there. Oh yeah, yeah, Brown dude, you right, right? Yeah, yeah, you're right, you're right. You know, a lot of people don't get that. Some people, they don't realize that it's up to you when you want to do things, and you know, some people try to, like, I don't know, just these obligations. It's like, look, when you got people that support you, man, they just can't wait until you go live. Either way. And y'all know I'll be bringing that heat, so whatever they can miss me with that. But yeah, I wanted to do a follow up on this because I feel like there was so much that could have been expanded, and I don't know. Maybe I might not be able to expand as much as I would like with this particular live stream, but hopefully, you know, y'all got y'all popcorn, y'all got y'all soda, and your nachos, and maybe for some your hot dogs, because this gonna be a doozy, you know. Uh, yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, some people just show up whenever. It's just who's ever there to support you, they're gonna be there to support you. That's just what it comes down to. I agree with that, Brown dude. And but that's why you definitely part of my La Familia, Brown dude, because you there, what I'm saying? You support me all the time, man. I appreciate that, man. And like I said, I got you, man. Just keep that in mind. Uh but yeah, I want to touch up more on this toxic relationship because there's actually more to this. There's actually more to it than um the three types of toxic relationships that I've mentioned. Um, I think there's a fourth one. I think so. And we'll try to see if that's it. There's probably more than that fourth one. But for now, let's just say I discovered a fourth type of toxic relationship. And I'll reveal that as the live stream goes on here. Um, so just relax, everybody. I just basically want to go over and expand upon the three types of toxic. I want to expand upon the three types of toxic relationships that I've mentioned previously, and that was let me see, it was the poisonous lie. It was my bad. It was the poisonous toxic relationship. It was the venomous toxic relationship, and the viral toxic relationship. And yes, there is a fourth one that I discovered. And I'll bring that up here as we get on with this live stream. But really, let's start off with the first thing that I wanted to just really touch upon that led me to want to come out here with a sequel. Okay. Well, there's just more to add to the first type of toxic relationship, which is the poisonous type of toxic relationship. And what I wanted to add to that is, um, yeah, there's radioactive, okay? Because radioactive is actually a form of poison, you know? Radioactive is a form of poison. And there are two types of radioactive poison, and you'll see how I correlate this with toxic relationships. So yes, you have some radioactive toxic relationships out there. You know, a lot of it, I believe is via, I don't know, some of it is via gaslighting, but we'll get to that. So let's just speak on this, okay? Um, well, here we go. Because with radioactive, you have particles and you have fumes. Those are two types of radioactive. And yeah, I believe sometimes you can have radioactive liquids, but you know, I won't go that far. Like I said, this is just kind of touching even a little more of the tip of the iceberg, you know. So, um, okay, with particles, how this relates to the poisonous type of toxic relationship, given that I'm mentioning the whole idea of radioactive. What does particles have to do with this? Now, with particles, uh, usually it could be something like just as benign as asbestos. Of course, you have things like plutonium and all of that stuff that they tell you to stay away from, you know, a lot of atomic type of minerals and materials, you know, and metals. Yes. Uh, but let's just say something more benign like asbestos. I see this as more of a long-term effect, you know, because you don't really know you have a lot of this stuff until down the road when it's just like a little bit too late almost, you know? And I see that particles are similar to like the long-term indirect effects of gossip and rumors. Basically, folk are still talking about you behind your back long after you've cut ties with them, adding more to the severity, you know? So this is after y'all have not been dealing with each other and folks are still trying to talk about you, you know? So whatever took place between you two, they still are active and they're still are active. Yes, radioactive. They're still active in this idea of speaking bad about you, you know, long after you two have departed, have went your separate ways. Okay. So that's that aspect of the radioactive poison type of toxic relationship. Yes. Yes, I know it's a lot to that. It's compounded, but you got to think about it. Toxic relationships are a compound of many different things, you know, compounded interests, as they say. Yes, you may not know about some of these things until it's too late. Now, let's talk about the second aspect of the radioactive poisonous type of toxic relationship, the fumes, okay? Because I just mentioned radioactive particles. Now I'm mentioning radioactive fumes. How does this correlate with toxic relationships? Okay, because I said particles represent the long-term indirect effects of gossip and rumors. Now, the fumes represent the short-term indirect effects of gossip and rumors. Basically, in this case, you've discovered that people have been accusing you of things and you haven't known how to address it yet. It caught you off guard, just like fumes do. It also means that tension is in the air upon your arrival, and you can cut with it like a knife, just like the cliche is. So, yes, so if one can just kind of narrate or kind of you can navigate through what I'm saying as far as I just mentioned a long-term effect is similar to particles as far as like you walk away and you're still dealing with people talking about you long after you've stopped talking to them. So you didn't even know that this stuff was going on. Like what, you know? But the short-term aspect, given the fumes, it's just like, you know, you were caught off guard before you even got around a person. And you just had a feeling that something wasn't right, just like you would when you smell fumes, especially if they're radioactive. It caught you off guard and you just knew something wasn't right and it started making you feel some type of way. But what do? You still go to ground zero because you're not sure of where the source is. And, you know, in hindsight, you're more or less just like, well, I was heading to this location. I was heading in this direction, you know, and therefore your curiosity may kill your cat. You just don't realize it yet. But hopefully it doesn't. You know, hopefully in due time, hopefully in just the nick of time, you'll realize that you're getting into a toxic situation with an individual. So yeah, I just explained that yeah, there's more to it as far as the poisonous aspect of the toxic relationship. And I explained that yes, there is a radioactive element to it. And there are different types of this radioactive element through the particles and through the fumes. And I correlated how that ties in with these toxic relationships, you know. Uh, and of course, I really didn't have to expand on anything venomous. Um, you know, I didn't have to expand on that. I think I did a good job with the previous live stream. But I actually, I actually, I did a video if one hasn't checked it out yet. Hey, how's it going, Charlotte Swan? Good to see you again, sweet. Good to see you again. Uh, you know, I did a video just recently talking about one-itis is poisonous, and if you haven't checked that video out, go ahead and check it out. I think you'll like it. But it brings up this idea of how it is poisonous, but I didn't explain how it is poisonous. I just told you that it was poisonous. And you know, it's really based on this idea of it being venomous. And I'll do a part 2 of that video. You know, just check that out in my playlist from yours truly 2020, given the date of this live stream. But yeah, I expanded a lot upon the whole idea of venom. So I won't go over venom. So I just explained there was more to it as far as the poisonous aspect of toxic relationships. I don't really need to expand on the venomous type of toxic relationships. I did that pretty well, in my opinion, with the previous live stream of this title. So I wanted to still expand upon the third type of toxic relationship, which was viral. And it'd be cool if this video goes viral too, this live stream, in a good way. But I wanted to expand more upon the viral because there's actually more to it. And I think in the previous live stream, I touched on this idea of how viral is like based on the idea of pathogen and pathological. Pathological more so deals with the mental disease, right? And then pathogen just deals with the physical disease. So keep that in mind. Pathogen is body, pathological is mind, logical, mind, get it? Okay. And then gen, that's genetics. That means more so the body, you know, even though this all goes hand in hand, you know, and so I think in the previous live stream I touched upon the different aspects of the viral type of toxic relationship. One was airborne, and then the second one was bloodborne. And I might be repeating some things, so bear with me, y'all. But I think in the previous live stream with the airborne, I just talked about the direct effects of gossips and rumors. So this is different than what I just mentioned earlier about the indirect effects. With something viral, it is direct, very direct. And with something that's more so poisonous, it's more so an indirect thing. It doesn't quite kick in right away, but usually viral stuff kicks in right away and it spreads like the plague. Okay. So I just mentioned the airborne aspect of the viral type of toxic relationship. Um, and so I think talking more about this bloodborne aspect of the viral type of toxic relationship. Uh, I talked also in the previous live stream about one holding grudges, how that represents the bloodborne type of toxic relationship, because basically this runs deep. This runs deep in your blood. When someone wants to hold a grudge, that means that they've been holding this in. And yes, grudges are very direct. There's no indirect. If you're still being treated as a stranger, yet they said they don't hold grudges, guess what? They're still holding a grudge. It goes back to that cliche of when someone says, I forgive you, but I don't have to talk to you. Avoid the cliches. Yes, avoid them. Because when you forgive, you forgive. There's no halfway. Grudges are so wicked because they are the least detected symptoms of toxic relationships or toxic type of relationships. But once you've been contaminated, the pain runs deep. Yes, it does. Once you realize someone is holding a grudge, And the reason why the pain runs deep, because you didn't realize that this pain ran that deep of how much of a grudge this person had towards you. And oftentimes, these people with their narcissistic tendencies at that particular point, they won't let you know that. But yet they've been harboring a lot of things. This is why you could be having a good day, but they come up with the most insidious type of a argument that they can have with you because they've been holding this in and they've been waiting on the right day, the right gorgeous day to try to ruin your day. If that makes sense. Think about that, y'all. 1 second. All right, I'm back. I had to do a H2O check, had to do a H2O check. Um, and yeah, we got to make sure our H2O isn't contaminated because this actually also is part of this whole toxic type of relationship. We're going to get off into the contamination aspect of this, yes, but it doesn't represent the fourth type of toxic relationship. Yeah. But see, but here's the thing, as I just mentioned, when you realize someone is holding a grudge and you've been and now it's affecting your whole insides, just like something that contaminates you will affect your whole insides. That pain runs deep. It affects your nerves when they're getting on your nerves. Okay, that runs deep. When someone is getting on your nerves, think about that. The nerve part, the nerve of them, you know not taking that away from C Boogie. He says the nerve. But no, it's deep like that. It's deep, you know. But yeah, when you think about some people, no matter how they've been contaminated. 1 second, y'all. These kids running. Okay, my bad, y'all. I like the kitties too, but they can't interrupt the live stream. By the way, I am working on a new microphone. I've been trying to save up, you know, so I can get better with this mouthpiece online so I can have noise cancellation. Okay, before I get more into this contamination aspect of things, uh, Charlotte Swan, grudges can be jealousy also. Yes, that's true. Um, Jealousy and grudges are very similar, but I think actually jealousy feeds the grudge. Why are they holding the grudge? Because they're jealous of you. Jealousy is the reason why they decide to hold the grudge towards you, you know? So, and it's been deep seated. This could be from childhood, especially if you two grew up together. No matter the gender, it could be your brother, or it could be your sister, or it could be your cousin, or just a friend. No matter what, but it was deep seated. Somehow they developed this jealousy of you, and then it became a grudge over time, and then you had to ask them, like, why are you holding a grudge? Because I'm jealous of you. What are you jealous about? So it gets deeper. It gets deeper, this, and then you don't realize it because it could, once again, come at a time when the day is beautiful and you're thinking that y'all just good like that, but they give you a rude awakening that no, I don't really feel that good about you right now. Yeah, no, that they'll be very cold about what they mean. But yeah, just think about this, y'all. When you get so contaminated, no matter how you ended up contaminated, given, what toxic type of experience you mentioned. I mean, given the type of toxic experience that you have, whether it was a venomous toxic experience, a viral, or a poisonous one via radioactive or airborne or bloodborne pathogens, particles, fumes, you name it, in regards to the social aspect of all this stuff, you're going to have to end up cutting your ties. So it's similar to someone that has a contaminated limb. Sometimes they have to do what? They have to cut off their limb. They have to amputate, surgically. You got to cut off that limb, that tie, because it's contaminated. That's why you have to cut it off. So that's really a good way to kind of reach out to somebody who they're having a hard time letting go. Okay, they're having a hard time letting go. Now, what you might find is that there's a couple of ways this works. You might find that you end up having to cut ties and cut the limb off because it's become contaminated. But oftentimes, if the person is a parasite, sometimes they let you go too. Sometimes they find a way to get away from the host after it has contaminated the host. Yes, the parasite finds a way to leave the host after it has contaminated the host. Other times, the parasite also can die within a host, or the parasite can grow within a host and kill the host and live off the host after the host dies. So there's a lot of different ways with this. So, but it's very important that we learn how to cut off ties once we realize that there's been a contamination. Now, I personally do something a little different, and this may not apply to everybody. Okay. My thing is, I don't cut people off. People cut themselves off, because I'm truly a forgiving person. So I figured I see people more in the light of being parasitic. I found the way to be immune to a lot of this toxicity. So that is not for everybody. I don't recommend that for everybody, but it works for me. Okay. But I would recommend that even from yours truly, this is something that I keep in mind. There are times when I am going to have to cut ties. And there are times when you're going to have to cut ties too. You're going to have to cut that limb. So yes, when someone says, why I can't let go, why are you telling me I need to let that person go? And you could just simply say, you're contaminated. It's toxic. What you got going on with that person is very toxic. They're a toxic person, and they're just going to poison you more. They're going to infect you more. They're going to contaminate you more. You need to cut that off some way, somehow. We got to work on this. Okay. Now, there's different ways you can kind of kill this parasite or this poison, and we'll get more into that too. 22 minutes into the live, and we're just moving along here very smoothly. You know, it's 22 minutes right now, actually 22 minutes and 22 seconds, and it's 10:22. So technically military time is 22:22. So yes, hey, we 22, 22, 22, 22. Let me know what you think about that. And we're not signing out yet. So yeah, let's keep going, right? Uh so we talked about cutting off the ties, um, and there's many different ways this contamination could take place. I mean, there was like this rock climber that I saw on National Geographic one time. He got stuck between a rock and a hard place, literally, and that can apply to life. But his arm, he couldn't free it, and he knew it was getting contaminated. Sometimes you could be doing the right things and things still happen, and you'll have to find a way to cut some things off even in the midst of that. This rock climber had to cut off his arm. It was getting contaminated. So there's a lot of different ways this happens. It's not just necessarily through toxic relationships. Sometimes you just get contaminated based on toxic situations, but that's for another day. And I might not even touch on that, but I think y'all know what I'm talking about. Um, but yeah, let's talk more about this contamination. Let's talk more about it. Okay. Now, if you were to look up the word contamination, from what I've gathered, contamination basically is something made impure by poisoning, infection, or pollution. Notice the word pollution. Pollution is actually the fourth type of toxic relationship that I discovered. So, yeah, there you go. That's the fourth type of toxic relationship, pollution. Because you think about it, I've explained all this about all these other different types of toxic relationship, all these other different types of toxic relationships. Now, how do I consider pollution another type of toxic relationship? Well, they just literally litter. They throw trash on you. They throw crap on you. Yeah, I'm going to have to be a little explicit. They shit on you. There you go. Yes, pollution. There was no subtle way, or there was no kind of slick or cunning way that they decided to be toxic towards you. They just come right out disrespectful. They just come right out just not acknowledging you. Okay, that's pollution to me. You know, that's pollution. Okay, so that's another type of toxic relationship. And some people don't mind that. That's the crazy thing. Some people don't mind the humiliation. Some people don't mind that type of pollution. You know, it's what they call a love-hate relationship, but that can be expanded in different areas. You know what I'm saying? Because it could be a short-term or a long-term type of love-hate relationship. It's crazy when you really think about this, y'all. Okay. But yeah, just going back to that contamination aspect of this. Uh Something made impure. So it was pure, but it became impure. So the toxic person was impure. They decided to basically stop what was pure between you two. Whatever could have been pure, it's no more. So basically, that's why you two couldn't endure because they came into the situation impure. Now, these same people would never admit that they were the ones impure. They'll always point the finger at the other person. You know, it's usually the person that blames the person that's actually the one with the worst behavior. The one accusing someone of the behavior is actually the one with that type of behavior. That's what I normally have experienced. You know, let me see this here. Just continuing on with this. But yeah, another thing you could think about with these types of toxic relationships is that a lot of these people have the scarcity mindset. Basically, the scarcity mindset is the fear of never having enough. You know, I think that could be a catalyst to a lot of these types of toxic relationship. Not only the three that I've been going with, but even the fourth one that I just mentioned, you know, that scarcity mindset of never enough, whether you can't do enough for them. But to be honest with you, I think when someone wants to be polluting you or shitting or crapping on you, that's because deep down inside, they're not really good enough for you, you know, deep down inside. But they have to, you know, pretty much make it seem like the other way. Only only trashy people throw trash out, you know. And they get off on something that was very nice and clean and pristine, being kind of polluted, being littered. They get off on seeing you with stains on you now. Yes, they want to stain you. Let's see. And yeah, they want to stain you because they have a disdain for you. Let's see what Charlotte Swan said. I was hated because I didn't become a single mother by my mid 20s. It happened so suddenly, and I had to cut off 99% of my friends and family. It was traumatic. Wow. They expected you to become a single mother? That's sick. I mean, why would they want you to become a single mother? That's crazy. And I appreciate you sharing that story, Charlotte Swan. I really appreciate that. Because I think oftentimes a lot of people project not only what they wish they could have done in life, they also project their pain onto other people, you know, whatever they're going through or whatever, you know, they want other people to suffer. So, like I said, it kind of goes back to that person that's trashy. Only trashy people throw out trash like that, you know, they don't like that you've been pristine and clean and they feel like you got to be like them, you know. Um, People only pull you down because they were always underneath you. That's how I look at it, man. I do. I look at it that way. Now, I want to look up this because there's a lot of other things to this that I want to talk with everyone about. You know, where we at? Wow, we're moving good here. Barely under 30 minutes. 1 second, y'all. Yeah, I gotta be doing a lot of H2O checks out here, you know. So yeah, buddy. Now, there's a lot to really explain more with how to deal with all these different types of toxic relationships, because all I've been basically doing is giving everyone um an idea. I've been excuse me, y'all. I've been giving everyone an idea of all these different types of toxic relationships. But hey, we need to talk about how to avoid them or how to get rid of them if you're infected, if you're contaminated. I mean, we need to talk about that, right? We need to talk about how do you get rid of this if you're in one of these situations. I mean, it's good to avoid these things, preventative measures, but not everybody's like that. Some people are in the midst of things, but yes, there is good news for that. Okay. Uh, I'm trying to see something here. Um, I'm trying to look up some stuff for y'all. Basically, what I'm doing here is, you think about venom, right? Well, with venom, you have an anti-venom. So that's what I mean. You need antidotes. You need anti you need anti-venom, you know. Um there's a lot to this. There's a lot to this. So that's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to develop these anti-venoms in our life. That's what is key for everybody. I want y'all to really think about that. Um, you know, so I think really before I get to that, before we get to anti-venom, let's talk about antigen. You know, um, basically, antigens. Um, a lot of times these are medicinal. Now there are natural antigens. You know, there are. However, there are also a lot of things in the medical field that are done um, totally the opposite way of what you would see in nature, but it will actually start a faster result as far as your body's immune response. So basically, it's about the information that you choose to take in. If we're going to put this on a social perspective, uh, an antigen is like molecules that are capable of like stimulating an immune response to a pathogen that's invading your body. And so, see like good content like from the other Ray J is like an antigen. you know, I want to stimulate immediate response to whatever toxic relationship that you've been through. Hopefully, one is getting a lot out of my content, or just in general, like if you just know someone that you could talk to and they stimulate a response in a positive way for you to get on the right track of leaving a certain toxic relationship, you know. Um, so that's really kind of um really anti-gen. And I was looking at this idea of an antibody, because you have anti-gen and you have antibody. Basically an anti-gen, as I told y'all, it just stimulates immune response to a pathogen or some type of whatever's toxic that's invading your body. And I told y'all how that can be done from a social perspective. Now an antibody binds together multiple antigens. So basically, in a social perspective, you're dealing with somebody that's stimulating a positive response to a toxic relationship. Sometimes it's good to talk to a lot of other people that believe in what you're talking about. You're getting more people to support you. So that's the antibody, the body of the antigens. You want to get a collective body of people that wholeheartedly embody what you're trying to not deal with anymore. You know what I'm saying? Meaning like they support you in your journey of avoiding toxic relationships overall, no matter what type, given what I've told y'all about, because there are obviously many different types. Now, this wasn't part of what I had in mind, but let's check out antibiotics. Now, these are medicines that help stop infections caused by bacteria. Now, In a nutshell, let me see what Charlotte Swan said. Yeah, anti-venom is necessary to protect yourself. And yeah, we ain't even got to the anti-venom yet. We gonna we gonna get to the anti-venom. Yes indeed. Yes indeed. Dang, here go 12 again. All right, 12 here, 12 left. But yeah, um literally antibiotic, if you look up the word, it literally means against life. So it means it's against the life of any germ that's trying to invade your body. Now, um, germs and bacteria are more so considered pathogens instead of actually poisons. They're more on the viral side as far as toxicity. So yes, you gotta avoid some people that are more like bacterial in your life. But yeah, and antibiotics can stop that. And so I think like what that means is just kind of like when we say take the daily dose of the red pill, or in some people's space, depending on your background, uh, in the word it is written, uh, faith come by hearing and hearing of the word. So that's like your social antibiotic, just speaking and living on positivity, listening to positive quotes, just trying to stay away from negativity. That's your antibiotic, okay? The antibiotic is basically your preventative measure, you know? It's you know, it stops these infections. It stops, and it also it also creates a barrier. It's kind of a some people take we take antibiotics on a regular basis. We don't realize it, but when we drink like alkaline water, if you're into that, that's actually a natural antibiotic because it helps stimulate your enzymes so that it can naturally ward off a lot of these bacteria that are trying to infect your body based on some of the foods that you eat, you know. But that's a natural antibiotic, I believe, alkaline water and things like that. So but yeah, just that. So that's what I mean, overall. So hopefully, I'm kind of, letting y'all see all these different ways we can deal with these toxic relationships. Hey, what's good, DJ Moss? Good to see you up in the building, fam. Good to see you up in the building. Let me see this here. Okay, yeah. So let me get off. Let's talk about anti venom because Charlotte Swan brought it up so wonderfully. So we gonna touch more into anti-venom. I want to look it up and I want to break it down from a social perspective. And hopefully I've been doing a good job with that for y'all. And if y'all got questions, feel free to put that in the chat section. I'm just rambling on and y'all can ramble with me. Okay. Uh let me see. Usually, now I'm gonna just give y'all my opinion of what anti-venom is. Anti-venom is, it just gets rid of the venom. It's actually, I think, the dose of the venom that you put back in your system. I think, they had to reverse its DNA structure so that it could actually get rid of the venom that's in your body. And obviously, venom is representative. It's another form of a toxic relationship. So it is something that was poisonous that was put inside of you. You know. But yeah, anti-venom, also known as anti-venom, venom, antiserum, and anti-venom immunoglobulin is a medication made from antibodies that is used to treat certain venomous bites and stings. Okay, so that's in essence the anti-venom there, in a nutshell. So this is very important. A lot of times, I think in the case of anti-venom, when you realize you was in a toxic relationship, uh, sometimes that means you have to kind of talk to someone about the source of the problem. You may have to talk to people who may have been aware of an individual or a certain situation, but they're going to give you more clarity in ways that you're not going to hear from other people who've never been in that particular situation, or they're not familiar with that particular person that caused you to be in that type of a toxic situation. Okay, so this to me is a good anti-venom. You know, you basically going to the source of where your venom came from in many ways, because that's what the anti-venom does. You know, they create the antibody. Um, they create the antibody, which is basically a collection of antigens, as I said earlier, based on the molecular structure of an antivenom in order to get rid of the antivenom. So yes, there's nothing wrong with, that's what they mean by that statement, face your fears. Okay, face your fears basically is just a scenario of anti-venom, you know, from my personal perspective, because you're facing your fears of a venomous type of a toxic relationship. You're finally, facing it. You know, a lot of people just say get over it. To me, that's toxic. Sometimes you have to face it head on, but when you're ready to, and that's your anti-venom. You know, that's your anti-venom. That way you don't feel like you're dwelling in a toxic situation in your mind. You literally have gotten over it, but it was based on you actually facing that same thing that contaminated you. But yes, that's the way you do that. That doesn't mean tit for tat or you're getting revenge, because two wrongs don't make it right, and you just end up becoming just as toxic as the person that made you toxic. Basically, that's what it means to truly be infected. Keep that in mind, y'all. Keep that in mind. Okay. Uh, Let me see this here. Now, here's something I want y'all to think about. Colorful, poisonous frogs. Now, the most poisonous frogs in the world are down in Brazil, like in the Amazon rainforest. The most poisonous frogs in the world are in the Amazon rainforest, and y'all seen them. There's some very colorful frogs. So I think like this with an individual, if they come off being too flashy, too flamboyant, too much out there like that. Like, I get it. We live in a world of introvert people and extrovert people. I get it. But you want someone that understands you. If you're not that extroverted, they respect your privacy. They're not trying to showboat around you. They're not trying to be too loud. Like, they respect you so much that they take a page from your book, you know, and they just don't try to be too loud around you, because that might create a toxic type of relationship after so long. So someone that's too loud like that, that's kind of like, to me, that colorful poisonous frog. And of course, everybody knows now, when you see animals like this frog that's colorful like that, chances are it's because that animal is very poisonous for the most part. So watch out for the very colorful, out there, very flamboyant and rambunctious type of people. That can be part of a toxic relationship that you don't need. They're going to be like, "Oh, you're not outgoing, okay?" You know, or they might be mad when you start to be outgoing. They get jealous of how outgoing you are. Basically, they don't like your colors. But see, they've shown their true colors, okay? Colorful, poisonous frogs. Keep that in mind. Now, my goal is, upon anyone recovering from a toxic relationship, no matter what type, given all the types that I've explained from this live stream as a sequel in the previous live stream, the key is to stay healed upon healing. Now, I know that it's easier said than done. So when I say stay healed upon healing, just always have your mind set upon being healed. And the key to that is peace. The key to that is peace. And for the most part, for a lot of people, peace means avoidance. Hey, what's up, woman of the past? Good to see you up in the building, sweetie. Good to see you up in the building. The key to peace from a social standpoint, as far as avoiding toxic type of relationships, is avoidance. You find out about a scorpion and you know where they are. Question to you: are you going to go back to where those scorpions are? I know I'm not. Let me find out. I don't care if this place is where I called home. I'm not going back to where those scorpions are. So yes, the key to peace is avoidance. You avoid toxic places. You avoid toxic people, no matter how good you've had it with a person. I got a saying for that, and I think I've touched upon this before. But the statement is, I avoid it because you destroyed it. I can't go back to what we had, even if I enjoyed it. Keep that in mind, y'all, because that means that person is toxic. And you know that around them, you will not be fully healed. That's who gave you that toxicity. That's who bit you. That's who infected you. That's who polluted you. That's who contaminated you. Why would you go back to that? Stay away from it. You know, stay healed upon healing. One thing I realized about toxic people is that they remain toxic. That's what I realized. Now I forgive people, okay? It's good to be forgiving because that represents healing, okay? But yes, if someone is toxic, you're not going to be around that, you know? Simple as that. Simple as that. And of course, like I said earlier, they try to use reverse psychology upon you with that whole forgiving aspect, just from the standpoint of a grudge, because you were trying to work things out with them and you realized that all this time they weren't trying to work things out with you. So now you're like, okay, it's just probably best I stay away in order for me to have peace. Because I see that you really don't want to be peaceful with me. I see that. And you would think that while we live in such a world that people just don't know how to be at peace with each other, because everybody has these toxic things on their mind that they don't want to admit, but yet they call that their way of thinking, their way of being, whatever their way is. To me, it's a toxic way. Okay. Now, I want to kind of touch upon two more things before this live stream is over with here. So, second before last. Okay. I talked about some of the different ways we can get rid of these toxins within us, right? But there's another way. There's one more way. Because I touched upon antigen or antigen. I touched upon anti-venom. I touched on antibody. Okay. But we can't forget about detox. Yes, we cannot forget about detox. And no, we're not talking about Dr. Dre's detox, which was long overdue. And of course, there's a lot of stuff about Dr. Dre we won't speak on, but yeah, shout out to Dr. Dre. Nothing against Dr. Dre. But yeah, let's talk about detox, okay? Because that's another way of cleaning up all these toxins that are within us. It's not just due to alcohol. You don't just detox due to alcohol, okay? But what is a detox? What is it? What is it? What does it actually mean? Because we hear it all the time, but what does it actually mean? We can sometimes say it's detox, or we can say it's detoxification. So either or, okay? But it usually means, it refers generally to the process of removing toxins from the body. In the case of substance abuse, detox specifically refers to the period of time that the body is allowed to process or metabolize any drugs and alcohol in the system, and in doing so clears their toxic influence. So detox in many ways, or detoxification in many ways, represents sort of my previous statement about staying healed upon healing. Okay. So goes back to that peace. That peace is your detox, y'all. So after you have left a toxic type of relationship, try to stay away, and try to be good at detecting other types of toxic relationships out there, given the ones that I've mentioned. So if some of y'all have not checked out my previous live stream upon this topic, go into my playlist from yours truly. No, my playlist. Yeah, go into my playlist, live streams from yours truly, and you'll see it there. And so, just check that out. And then, yeah, now you're here. For those that are here, you're listening to this live stream. But even those listening to this on a replay, make sure, if some of y'all haven't checked out my previous live stream upon this, check that out on my playlist, live streams from yours truly. Okay. But yeah, the for me, detox is the peace, having this peace. You know, this peace is so important. And one key to that to me is based on some biblical things. And yes, there might be some people here who aren't biblical, but I have something from a biblical text that I think is important in life. And it says, it is written, having that peace that passeth all understanding. Okay. So the fact that this peace is beyond our understanding is actually what helps with detoxing us from a lot of this toxic stuff that we've been through in life. And you think about it, even in the clinical aspect of detoxification, we don't really understand how all that works. But a lot of times they just say, just chill. We don't really need to give you no extra medication, maybe some water, some clean distilled spring water or alkaline water, maybe, but you just need to chill right now and just let your body kind of do its own self cleansing. And so, in essence, to me, peace is that way too. It's something that you can't really explain. And it's not something that you're really trying to understand, but you do know it is working. You can feel the effects. You feel better as time goes on, as you're further away from that toxic type of relationship, as you continue not to associate yourself, as you continue not to associate yourself with such things. So hopefully someone understood that. Okay. Now, there's one more final thing I want to touch upon, and it's just pretty much something that I was just thinking about. It's not something that I'm gonna look up, but just think about it this way, y'all. When you're in these toxic type of relationships, here's another cliche. You know, rubbing somebody the wrong way. I know we all have heard of that cliche, rubbing somebody the wrong way. But the last time I checked, that's poison ivy, right? You rubbed upon it. Well, there really ain't no wrong way of rubbing upon poison ivy. You just rub upon it, and then you start to really feel that poison ivy, right? Uh, but yeah, to me, that's the poison ivy scenario. But here's how it specifically goes, because somebody could rub you the wrong way, or you rub them the wrong way, but it's not based on you being wrong. You see what I mean? It's based on a toxic person being wrong towards you per se, like they did some wrongdoing onto you. And so, you know what I'm saying? Or when I say you rub them the wrong way, they feel some type of way about something you said to them upon their wrongdoing. So once again, when I say wrong, it's not you, it's them. To me, that's the poison ivy scenario. So it all ties in with what I've been seeing lately as far as all these different types of toxic relationships. And I really hope everybody kind of you can grasp a lot of what I'm saying. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us can relate to these things. And I think in this time that we live in, it's very important that we just work on that peace, that true detox, and drink a lot of water for sure. That'll help with that. So that water, figuratively speaking, to me, that means just continuing to just flow like water in life. You know what I'm saying? Don't let people make you stagnant. You know, that's key. But hopefully this live makes sense to some. Maybe this live did not make sense to others, but to the others that this live makes some sense too, feel free to hit that like button, especially those listening to this on the replay. If this is your first time here at this channel and you happen to like my content as well as my live streams, feel free to subscribe, share this live, hit that notification bell so that you can get all of my uploads in real time. And yeah, I mean, if you need to reach me, just go in my about section. I got all my information there. If you just happen to want to tip, I got that information there too. If you just feel like you just want to give out the goodness of your heart, I don't expect these things. It's just more or less, if somebody just wanted to, just want to reach out to me, you can. And always, whether through a tip or just through, reaching me at my I got my email there in the about section. I also got several other platforms that I do content on. You can reach me at those other platforms as well, you know. And yeah, I got like an IG where I got a lot of my traveling that I've done because I do a lot of traveling. So you can check out my IG. I also have that in my about section. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I hope this live was very good to everybody, you know. Oh, let me see this. Charlotte Swan said something. Hold up. I was confused by one-itis and how peace is the solution. I thought one-itis was obsession on one person at the exclusion of others. So how can you find peace from that? Well, yeah, that's a good question, Charlotte Swan. The way you find peace from that is obviously not being so obsessed on that one person, because you basically have had tunnel vision from that person to where that one person has taken up your whole day. And so like I mentioned in the it's to me it doesn't matter what type of relationship you have with a person, whether it's monogamous or non-monogamous. If you're just so fixed on that one person that's controlling all your feelings and emotions, allegedly, it's going to basically exclude everyone else from intervening, from being involved, and even yourself. You're excluding yourself. Your whole focus is just on that one person, you know so yeah, the piece that you get from that is obviously not, like I said, it's not being obsessed with that person, and upon you realizing how toxic they were, you might have to stay away from that person. A lot of this one-nightish comes from us not realizing how toxic a person is. No one should have you to the point of where you're that fixated on them to where you can't even go about with your day. Now, I can see if you're very close with this person and you have a lot of love for them, but maybe they passed away or something. We don't know. But even then, if that person was still living, or maybe if they could say something, they would say, "No, don't mourn. Celebrate me. Don't mourn for me. Go about and keep living your life. I'm there with you in the spirit. No, don't do that. I'm there with you, you know?" But see, someone that's toxic, they get off on the fact that you're so obsessed with them. They get off on the fact that you're stuck on them all day and you can't eat, you can't sleep, you can't move around because you're literally infected by them, you know, uh, in all different ways. Probably in all these ways combined that I've mentioned in regards to the toxic type of relationships, you know. So you're just stuck. You're now a vegetable for no reason. I mean, there's a reason as to how you became in this vegetated state, but there's no reason as to why you should stay in that state. And so to me, one-itis can be very deadly. It can be very fatal. And hence, yes, some people have died of a broken heart. That's a real thing. Y'all can look it up. Many people have literally died of a broken heart based on this idea of one-itis. You know, I believe it. But yeah, anybody else got any other questions before I close out? You know, let me know before I sign out of here. But yeah, I mean, I got a couple of minutes. If anybody got any questions about this live stream, just yeah, I'm here. I could chop it up with y'all, you know. Um, but yeah, especially those listening to this on the replay. Once again, hopefully y'all check out my playlist, live streams from yours truly, and y'all could check out the previous live stream that I did to this one, the 3 types of toxic relationships. And for those just coming in, maybe towards the latter part of this live stream, I mentioned that there's actually a 4th type of toxic relationship, and it was in regards to pollution. Yes, I added that to the fold. So that's why I was like, I had to do a sequel because there was actually more to add to this. But yeah, looks like, I guess, everybody pretty much cool, no questions. I'm glad I was able to, pretty much give a lot of clarity. It seems, hopefully I have, humbly speaking. But yeah, uh, no matter what it looks like out there, y'all, it's only going to get better from here. And one day, y'all going to hear my voice saying, I told you so. And until next time, signing out. Much love to y'all. Thanks for stopping by.